Baki Hanma, the man bestowed the title of strongest creature on earth, and Ohma Tokita, the inheritor of the Nico style and supposed Tiger's vessel. These two fighters are top tiers in their respective universes, and in this video, we'll pit them against each other to discern who is truly stronger. Before we get into the power scaling, I would want you to know that this would be broken down into two sets when power scaling both characters. The first set is what version of Baki and Ohma are during the timeline of the film, and the second set being from their recent mangas. Okay, now that we've sorted that, let's start off with scaling them from the period of the movie. Starting with Baki, it should be easy to recognize that this version of Baki in the movie is from the father-son fight arc, since there's some cues like Jack with his face still healing and Baki using the cockroach dash in his fight against Ohma. So Baki during the father-son fights should be around city block or multi-city block level because of him sparring with an imagination of Yujiro. Actually, I'm gonna tie two loose ends at once. Since Baki produced an attack with his imagination that's around multi-city block level, and also took the same attack without a massive casualty, his attack potency should be around multi-city block level as well as his durability. Multiplying that with Demon Back, which amplifies all the person's statistics at least by 2, then Baki should be in the vicinity of small town level to town level in both AP and durability. Maybe even higher. Oh my, I sound like such a nerd. And then with speed, which in Baki's case, he'd be high to massively hypersonic because he scales to his father Yujiro, who is massively hypersonic as a result of him dodging a lightning bolt. Whoa, hold your horses. I know what you're gonna say. The lightning feat wasn't in the father-son fight arc. Well, the thing about that is, the feat stated that if lightning was to strike, he would be able to respond to it on time. It didn't clarify that Yujiro could only react to lightning from that point on, where it was stated in the Musashi arc. So seeing that the time gap from the father-son fight arc to the Musashi arc isn't really that long, even though Yujiro grows in power generally as time goes on, I'd still say that the version of Yujiro in the father-son fight arc could still very well react to lightning. Even though we can't properly gauge how strong he gets every day, he should at least be able to react since Yujiro at the Musashi arc is doing so casually because of the statement regardless of his guard. Meaning whether his guard is up or not, he would still be able to dodge lightning. So Yujiro in the father-son fight arc should be able to at least dodge lightning if he tries. Oh my, I nearly forgot about Baki. How Baki even scales to being high hypersonic to massively hypersonic in speed is because he avoids and reacts to Yujiro's speed during their fights, so Baki is comparable to that level of speed. Why did talking about speed take so much longer than anything else? Anyways, it's Ashura time. Nico style. Ohma's Tokes. Alright, let me stop playing around. Quickly, I want to get through this version of Ohma during the movie. The version of him is after the Annihilation Tournament. How do I know this? Well, my good friend viewer. By the way, nice haircut. How I know it's that version of Ohma is because Kano Agito has his forehead scar in the movie, but he really only acquires that scar after the Annihilation Tournament is finished. So that would mean the Annihilation Tournament is finished since he has it in this movie, and thus that means the version of Ohma is after the Annihilation Tournament. Some Batman level sleuthing right there. Yeah, I'm one of the greats. I know. Ohma's attack power is city block level because of this feat he did when he was younger, the Demon's Bane. Since he's older in the Annihilation tournament, it's likely higher, plus if he uses advanced, it may further get higher, bringing it to at least multi-city block level. That would also be the same for his durability because Ohma's tough enough to receive attacks from fighters who should have more attack power than him. In essence, his durability is multi-city block level or more. Alrighty, now we're getting somewhere. For Ohma's speed, it's actually a really easy thing to gauge because we can just scale him above another character who's regarded as the fastest in the Annihilation tournament, Ray. With this feat Sonic performed against Beardman, it's calculated to be supersonic in speed, and in all likelihood scaling beyond that if Ohma becomes a demon, if he uses advanced. Reaching hypersonic for Ohma's speed. Alrighty, that's the end of the calculations for both characters of this set. By the way, extra stats that I did not mention like stamina, intelligence, techniques, I'll talk about them when we're discussing who wins this versus battle. So, deciding the outcome of these two monsters fighting. The movies show this fight at the beginning to be pretty accurate to how genuine the fight would be. Baki knocking out Ohma super fast, exhibiting the speed gap. Ohma's really at a huge disadvantage in the speed department. While he's barely scraping hypersonic, Baki's scaling being high hypersonic to massively hypersonic. That's one thing that gives Baki the upper hand in this fight. And it was shown really well in the movie. The attack potency and durability for Baki and Ohma, they're quite relative or close, so that wouldn't matter too much to conclude the winner. I'm gonna reference the movie some more now. Ohma at times kinda just looked like a guinea pig for Baki's techniques. Some of them were tripping him up, and others he actually defended himself pretty well. But it's pretty crazy. I don't think Baki even used like half of the techniques he knows at that point in the story. There will still be some more techniques that he didn't utilize against Ohma in the movie, and that would be another way for Baki to surpass Ohma in this power scaling battle. I want to make it clear that Ohma at this point in the story can't copy other fighters' techniques. He's only capable of doing that during Omega, but don't worry, we'll talk about that version of Ohma later on in this video. To exchange against Baki's vast amount of weird techniques, Ohma has techniques of his own, united together within his Nico style, in the form of katas. Not to mention he could also combine his Nico style techniques with advance, giving him more power and efficiency. But not only can Baki copy every technique Ohma throws out, he could also use Demon Back to outperform Ohma. At that point, Baki would be stronger, faster, and tougher than Ohma using advance. Furthermore, Ohma does have superhuman levels of endurance and stamina, so he could fight for a very long time. So does Baki. They both really do have like an insane amount of stamina. On that notion, I'd say Ohma lacks the stamina when he's in the advanced states. The transformation itself in the movie, being stated as a double-edged sword, it does help you get stronger, faster, and tougher when you need to be, but it could also reduce your lifespan or even damage you eternally. Correlating that to Demon Back, which literally has no weaknesses or drawbacks, other than obviously using your own stamina to activate it and maintain it, which really just counts for the majority of other transformations in fiction. Lastly, both combatants are genius martial artists, outwitting their opponents with high-level analytical prediction and information analysis in battle. Like, if fighting was a university major, Ohma and Baki would be the Nobel Prize winners, the Albert Einsteins, 400 IQ plus intellectuals in that subject. Though I did glaze both of them just now, Baki, in my opinion, would be much smarter than Ohma. Baki's knowledge when it comes to fighting is on a masterclass level. Even being regarded as a genius is an understatement. His way of fighting is so unconventional and unheard of, like striking the skin of the chin to rattle the brain of Pickle, whose brain should be near impossible to shake because of his thick neck, or kicking someone's already broken knee to the degree that the kick helped his knee to recover. There's more like that, but I really do think that what I'm going to talk about now is the peak of Baki's genius. Like, this is what makes him so stellar when it comes to fighting intelligence. Producing imagination projections of your opponent to fight them for the actual match. Projecting an actual prehistoric dinosaurs into a 4,000-year-old Chinese martial art. And people could actually see these projections that he conjures out of thin air. Baki's application of creativity into fighting is what makes him a genius, far above what Ohma is capable of. It's really just how Baki adds creativity when fighting opponents and uses that ingenuity to beat his opponents. That is what makes Baki extremely special when it comes to fighting intelligence. Like, if you told Baki to think outside the box, he would take the box and mold it into anything he wants. A donut, a star, anything. Alrighty, to conclude this set, Baki would be dubbed as the winner due to his overwhelming speed, extensive amounts of techniques, superior tacticalness when fighting, and having a better transformation. Baki wins this first set with mid to high difficulty. Moving on to the second set of this video. Both Baki and Ohma are scaled to their recent manga versions, being Baki Raian and Kengan Omega. Scaling them is going to be super easy, because we already did half the work already with the first sets, so we'll just be adding small details for this next set matchup. Disclaimer, both series have statements of presumed light speed later in their mangas. Sorry to burst your bubble, but both of these statements are extreme hyperbole and they're just very exaggerated. It's just not true. Oh man, the truth really hurts, doesn't it? An actual feat that I can use to upscale Ohma instead of the light speed feat, that's not true, is when Wakatsuki shook the top of the mountain in the Purgatory arc. You know, my King Fei took that attack just fine, no biggie, he's just built like that. He also clobbered Waka afterwards. Back on topic. This feat is multi-city block level, allowing for Ohma to scale to it, because, you know, he's stronger than Wakatsuki. Not physically, but as a fighter. Even pushing it to small town level if he uses advanced. Same could be said for his durability. Also, Ohma having a higher degree of foresight, which is just like high level prediction of your opponent, as well as him having the ability to copy techniques thanks to the Kure clan. Although in Omega, Ohma has like limited himself from using advanced a lot of the times, considering the extremely large risks of using it. So he uses a suppressed volume of advanced sometimes. As of now, he's getting trained by Kuroki and learning from the connector Shen Wulong. What I have to add for Baki is heightened senses, having the ability to recognize a person's heartbeat from a far distance, like miles and miles away, and he knows whose heartbeat belongs to which person. There's also, wait, let me check my list. Mind reading? What? I'm not even joking, like literal mind reading. It could also be interpreted as extreme level prediction of your opponent, but it just literally is borderline mind reading. There's also producing illusions to perplex your opponent, practically putting them under hypnosis. And lastly, scaling from his brother Jack Hanma. When Jack confirmed that he could tank a fall from a sizable skyscraper after his dinner with Yujiro, Baki should have some relative durability to survive something like that, since he did so in the past while landing on a car. As of now, he's training, growing stronger, enjoying life, and in support of his older brother's growth in power. Now that that's all said and done, how would the matchup go after scaling them from their recent manga versions? Even though Ohma has more leverage now because he can copy techniques from looking at them once, Baki would still outclass him in this aspect. There are some techniques Ohma can't copy from Baki, whilst Baki can copy everything from Ohma. Like every technique Baki has that's even remotely related to imagination, that's something Ohma cannot replicate. Ohma has not shown that type of expertise when copying someone. Even now, Baki can just hypnotize Ohma to bring him more hassle in this already difficult battle. The skill gap is still too massive, and Baki still has the advantage with exceeding cleverness and strategic reasoning. Baki still has the speed predominance, being high hypersonic to massively hypersonic, albeit I can only scale Ohma to be hypersonic, maybe hypersonic plus. In addition, those techniques Ohma can't copy would be hard for him to deal with in the fights. And still, Baki has the better transformation with no drawbacks, unlike Ohma's advanced, which is still very life-threatening, and Ohma suppresses it to keep himself safe. Regardless of being power scaled from the recent mangas, Baki still remains to be the stronger fighter, winning the fight mid to high difficulty. If you disagree with anything, please comment it down below. And thank you so much for watching. The strong is the beautiful.